All right, so today we're going to look at what we did wrong with the Gantt chart that I personally designed. Okay, so if you haven't noticed by now, there are some floating tasks. We have one, two, three, four floating tasks right here. They can start whenever they want. They can finish pretty much whenever they want, right? There's nothing that comes before them, nothing comes after them. This is a really, really bad thing to do. So there are other floating tasks in this Gantt chart. There's one right there. Okay, he doesn't end anywhere else. Once the water comes to his end, it just stops there, doesn't flow to anybody else. And I think there was another one down here, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, I guess not. Okay, so those are some floating tasks that we had. So that's a big problem. Another big problem we had is we don't start all of our tasks with a verb. So for example, manual takeoff and landing. That's noun. Manual takeoff landing. This is a noun. Manual flight test of kit. This is another noun. Okay, these are okay though, right here. These four: create, determine, identify, record. Those are good verbs. Research is not a good verb. I'll get into that one a little bit later. Prepare penguin for autonomous flight. Penguin is the name of the fixed wing drone. So you determine, you integrate. That's okay. Okay, but there's another task such as achieve autonomous takeoff line with quad rotor. These tasks are no longer required, so I should have deleted those, all these quad rotor tasks. So there's another task here, another research, another research. I think there was another research down here. No, that's it. Okay. So generally speaking, research is not a good verb to pick because you could research something indefinitely for a really, really long time or really short time. It's not really clear exactly when research is done. Where does it start? Where does it end? So you need clear completion criteria. And that's the next point I want to make. You need clear completion criteria without having any open-ended gates or questions about what does it mean for this task to be done. You should look at the Gantt chart. You should look at the task and know immediately, how do you know when this task is done? And so things like research, that's really bad. Don't ever start one of your tasks with research. That's a poor verb to pick from. There's another one, I think it's up here. Learn basics of mission planner. Like, what does the basics mean? Why do we need to learn it? Those are really important questions to ask. So generally, the rule of thumb is you want to have a simple action for every single task. Okay, so determine this, determine that, connect this, achieve this thing, understand this, create this, develop this, or draft this. Those are pretty good verbs to start with. Or write this, test this. Those are better verbs to pick from. And then the last thing is you want concise task names. So some of these task names are very long, especially things like verify that Penguin can achieve autonomous flight to mission plan specification. Wow, it's a very, very long task. We should have shortened this to just say verify autonomous flight, right? Very straightforward. Okay, so those are the four things. Again, so there's floating tasks, starting each task with a verb, having clear completion criteria, and having concise task names. If we did those four things, if I just did those four things, I would have given myself a B for a grade for this Gantt chart. So you might be wondering, how do I get from a B to an A? Great question. So here's what I would have done to go from a B to an A. You have noticed that there's this yellow rectangle here. That's winter break. So it turns out in Gantt project, you can color code and shade the different rectangles. So the first thing I would have done differently, knowing everything that I know now, I would have color coded the subsystems. Okay, so all of the image processing tasks, all of these here, I would have picked one color, say green or purple or something. Okay, then all the tasks here for the fixed wing drone. So all of these tasks here that I've highlighted, I would have made these blue or another color. Okay, so that's the first thing I would have done. Because from the audience's perspective when you're looking at your Gantt chart. They want to know what tasks are kind of grouped together. The other thing I would have done, the second thing is I would have graded out completed tasks. Okay, so for example, these tasks here, these are all done. The completion percentage bars, that black horizontal bar is completely filled from left to right. So I would have chosen either just gray background color, or I would have chosen a darker shade of this color to indicate that these tasks are completed. That way, when I quickly look at this Gantt chart, I know immediately these are the done tasks. The third thing I would have done to go from a B to an A for this Gantt chart, I would have separated this into two different semesters. So end of fall semesters here. So if you look, there's a whole bunch of tasks from the very beginning in August 24 all the way to December 19th. It would be better if I made two separate Gantt charts, one for the small fall semester and one for the spring semester. Those are just way too many tasks here. See, it'd be very difficult to present this Gantt chart. The fourth thing I would have done is I would have renamed my tasks. So if is any other PM, some project manager, some team captain, someone from the admin team, from any team in the future or the past, they can look at this Gantt chart and they should instantly know what every single one of these tasks are, why we need to do them, and they don't need to ask me, the author, for what I mean by all these tasks because they already have some inherent basics and fundamental understanding of the overall project. So they can quickly see and figure out for themselves why I'm doing these tasks. Why is it in this sequence? Why did I do this in parallel or sequence or in series? Why do I put this in a certain order? Things like that. And then the last thing that I would have done is I would have had tasks that can monitor the major competition milestones, not the assignments. Okay, so what I mean by that is things like have a outline for the journal paper, the competition technical design paper, develop a mission safety protocol or checklist. This is important, but I should have had more eyes on these kind of tasks. And I'll get into a story about that later. But I don't want to include things like assignments. Assignments would be things like the preliminary design review, the critical design review, the end of the semester. These don't really belong here. They should be removed. We just want to focus on just the competition milestones. So a competition milestone would be something like, have we submitted our fact sheet, the flight plan? Have we submitted the team composition table, the base access forms? Those are all competition deliverables. These deserve to be on here. But assignments for the class, like the PDR, CDR, they shouldn't be on the Gantt chart. Okay, so those are all the things that I would have fixed, knowing everything that I know now about Gantt charts.